Damon Jr. and you and Brand T. Jackson, everybody busy. I'm like, I might book this bitch.
Well, you know what's so funny? I was talking to Brandon about that, and this is true for me. When I first moved to LA, Brandon T. Jackson was the hot, young, up-and-coming comedian. He was that dude.
Right.
And people used to hate on him. And I used to tell everybody, I used to say, yo, you need to root for him because his success is our success. Yep. At the end of the day, he can't do every role. And as long as he's successful doing his job, they're going to say, we need somebody else, the Brandon T. Jackson type, or we need another young up-and-coming black comedian because Brandon's too busy to do it. Then that's when we're able to come through the door.
And look, let's be honest, you know, you working that much, your quote go up. I'm a little cheaper now.
Straight up.
It's funny, but you know what I mean? But that all, I mean, that's business. That just comes into play. I mean, I remember even like Jerron and
Jerron Horton,
Clayton, Rob Hayes, Langston. I mean, I know I've seen them in rooms being like, oh shit, Tone's here. I'm like, hey, bro, I've been here. I've been on this side of it where like, I'm you and you know what I mean? But also you probably gonna book this bitch.
Right.
You probably gonna get it. You know what I mean? And it's dope when that happens. I love seeing especially our peers in our group.
How do you feel about auditioning? I mean, I'm at a point where I know ego is coming into play for me to even have a thought about, do I even still want to audition? Versus like, what would you audition for? How do you even feel about it? Are you like, man, like Coming to America? Did you audition for Coming to America too?
Not really.
Mm-hmm.
I got a real bitter story about Coming to America.
Oh, well, good, because I didn't know that. So
I got a real bitter story.
Tell me, and then I'll tell you my thinking.
Not without giving too much. And one, I'm happy for the whole. Like I love, you know, everybody who they can. I love. Like I'm
phenomenal cast.
I mean, it's when you just want to see it done right. You root for everybody, even if you're not a part. You know what I mean? So it was like, yes, I got the. I mean, dude, I was meeting with them back September, October.
Wow.
I mean, because I think we auditioned last spring. It was like in the spring, I think, when everybody was auditioning, like a March, April.
I didn't audition, but yeah.
You know, okay, so like it was. I mean, I had met with them 6 months before, like real auditions was starting up. And like, you know, meetings and talks or whatever. And it was like, hey man, they really like you for this. But not just you, a bunch of other people that, you know, can kill this shit too. And I was like, of course. I was like, you know, but I want to know, I want a heads up so I can get ready. Like I want to knock this bitch out the park. And bro, I got a phone. I don't want to say too much, but I got a phone call from a team member of mine that really got in my head 3 days before I was supposed to go in. And then I went in, and it killed my confidence. It killed my confidence of like.
They told. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna just say, did they say who the producer were already thinking about going with?
Wasn't even that. It was something about me.
You know, if you could just trim your beard.
It was, bro. It was like it wasn't a performance thing. It was an aesthetic thing, and it was like, and it made me.
I was kind of right then.
Yeah, I mean, it made me uncomfortable to go. Well, if this is something they already said, why am I going? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where this information is coming in. So it was like, for 72 hours, I'm in my head about how do I not think about this thing? How do I not get, and honestly, bro, I went in and I was like, had a decent audition, and she was like, let's do it one more time. And I was like, I'm good. I left. I was like, I'm good. I was like, I might send a tape in, but I was like, this ain't, I'm good to do that. Nigga, I'll go to an audition and be like, hey, I am not prepared. I really like the project. I am not prepared. I just want to let y'all know that if you give me like 36 hours, I'll come back or give you a tape, but I'm not going to do my best today. So,
well, you know what's so funny? I'm at a point I know you at a point in your career when they tell you the audition date, just don't go that day. So like I get sent emails all the time like, we want to see Justin tomorrow at 3 o'clock, or we want to see Justin Friday at 1 o'clock. And I have my reps tell them like, see if they still have it. I'd be like, see if they still auditioning next week.
Yep.
Because I'm not going to go in and waste my time and your time because you're trying to really, by the time you get to my name, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
We're down to Justin.
Right. They're like, exactly. So it's like, by the time you get to that point, it's like, no, you don't really want me. It's me. And it's like, I don't even want to say other comedians' names. They're gonna get offended. I don't want to hear this shit. I don't want to have to beat nobody ass in the streets.
It's Justin, and what's his name from Baltimore?
Right. Exactly. So,
but
I still tell them, like, if they still having auditions next week, then I'll go in, because then I'm prepared and I can give my best performance.
And I feel the same way. It's I don't even want to say that trick, but I will say yes. Either I'm not gonna go today. I'm not doing that Friday. Hey man, if they still seeing people on Tuesday,
right?
I might do that. But the only thing I won't audition for, and I'm not saying it won't. It's just like if the producer's dope and the director's dope and the creator's unbelievable, and I really fucks with it, I will audition. But most times at this point, I refrain from auditioning for like multicam comedies. Like if it's a live audience comedy, I've done 6 of them. Like if you don't know I can murder this shit with a shot, I'm like, I don't know what else I can do. And the only time if it's another cat who's like I'm testing against, I will go to a test.
Right.
But I need a separate test. I don't do those tests where we all right here. It's
the worst.
Our studio test, like, hey, he at 11, I'm at 1, somebody else at 3. I respect that, because that's also for them. That's also for the other talent too. Because I'm like, I don't want this shit to be a cage match.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna tell you my worst testing story about testing. I tested for damn, what's the show? Empire. I tested for Empire.
Okay.
Me, Jussie Smollett. How you pronounce his name?
That works.
Yeah, me. This was pre getting beat up supposedly by 2 Africans / white people. So me, Jussie in there, and a few other people, and I'm going in for Hakeem. Lee Daniels is there. Everybody's there. I'm talking about, it's like a 4-6 hour process. They just switching us in and out. This was the year, I think, before Rush Hour. Switching us in and out. I'm feeling good about the audition. I was like, man, I feel like I had a strong audition, man. Me and Jussie had good chemistry. We went in there together. I was like, I'm feeling good. And he was the best person I remember that I felt like I was matched up with. I felt like he was the best person. The deadline came out. They said, I get a call from my agent later that night. Justin, they went with somebody else for Hakeem. I was like, oh, okay. When I found out who it was somebody that wasn't even at the testing. He wasn't even at the test. It's like, y'all already knew. Y'all had this other dude in the, I forgot the guy name that got it. Forgive me, no disrespect. But y'all know Hakeem on Empire, the one that got the role. I'm thinking he wasn't even at this. So y'all just wasted fucking 4 hours out of my life, pitting us up against each other. And I didn't really have a real shot. I mean, right. I might have had a shot, but I don't know. I know the dude that got it wasn't there.
And like the only thing you kind of pull out of that is people knowing you good. You know what I mean? Producers and directors knowing you good at this, like, you worth being in the room. And also your quote now is different.
Yeah,
that's what you get out of it. But you don't want to keep testing your quote, keep going up, but you don't ever book nothing. And you'd be like, why is he so expensive if we don't get a chance to see him?
Yeah, I'm about to say my quote went from $4 to $12. So if you need me on a network show.
I got one part. I did this cold ass test. I mean, I was out of town. They wanted me to test, so I ended up doing like 2 tapes for a show, and I was going up against. It was one of the coldest audition tapes I've ever. To this day, I'm like, I know it's one of my best. That bitch cold,
right?
That bitch cold.
And know when you kill it. You know when you kill it.
And I knew. To me, I was doing an inside joke on myself, going, I'm just going to do my impression of Brandon T. Jackson.
Right.
From like other things that he's done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do my version of him doing this thing. And then this nigga gets it
They was watching you like, Brandon T. Jackson? Yeah, of course.
And then my agent calls me, he's like, hey, great news. They love your tape. They're out to Brandon T. Jackson, but if he doesn't take it, it's yours. And I was like, nigga, I was doing Brandon T. Jackson.
I got a Brandon T. Jackson audition story.
And shout out to B, man. I love Brandon T. Jackson, man. I love that dude, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm in LA new. I know I was still new in LA because I was in my first apartment out there. Me and Brandon was already cool. I get an audition. My agent sent me an audition for Percy Jackson, the Percy Jackson movies, right? I hit up Brandon. Me and Brandon might have been on the phone. I was like, yeah, my agent. I said, you going in for this Percy Jackson movie? I was like, my reps, they just sent me an audition for it. He said, oh yeah, I already met with them. Here go my costume design. Send me an email or a text pit. They already had this Negro drawn as the animal, whatever that animal he was, the half man, half goat. They already had the drawings. Him in the costume. I'm thinking, why the fuck am I auditioning? Why am I auditioning tomorrow for this? He has the role. And I had to go to that audition knowing you all already have the artwork for Brandon T. Jackson. And they're smiling. Oh, we're loving what you're doing. And it's like, wasting my time.
I will say that I had one of them moments where it's like, and I was trying to be funny. There's a bunch of comedians in the room, break the tension or whatever, trying to be silly. And I made this move, and I feel bad about it because it's an asshole move to make, but it was like, at this point, I wasn't auditioning for, I had turned down a show. I had turned down a premium cable show because it was like,
okay, Tone turning down shows out here.
Hey man, I've turned down a couple that either didn't go the way people thought it was gonna go, or it's a hit. And I gotta see the billboards. I'm like, I could have been on that bitch.
Oh, I got a story for that. Keep going, I'm listening.
But I was auditioning for Disjointed, so it's the creator and Chuck Lorre in the room, and I was like, man, it's Chuck, so I got to go in for Chuck. Warner Brothers fucks with me, so I was like, all right, let me, me and a couple, the upper heads, and we go to happy hours, you know what I mean? Like I kind of know stuff, we good.
Yeah, everybody, that's industry hot. You see what I'm saying? Nah, I done been on network TV for 5 years. I ain't going to happy hour with nobody.
Man, this shit better than Deadline.
I bet. Oh, I know the stories you get. I call it that.
It's like, it's outrageous. But that's my corporate background. Like, I just go to the top. I go to the top, and then like that's me getting in. Hey man, I need to meet the president. You know what I mean? Like, I need to sit down with him. What's going on? And I can outdrink almost anybody. You know what I mean? So like, hey, you get 3 margaritas in, you get some loose lips.
Right. So yeah, I let him put his finger in my ass.
You did, Rebecca. That is crazy. Keep talking. No, we'll do one more round. And so, but I'm auditioning. I mean, and everybody I'm talking about is probably, it was one of them shows where like, who the white girls auditioning for, who the black men auditioning for, who the bigger black dudes auditioning for, who because everybody has a type on that show. It's very stereotypical. Everybody has a type, but it's a very mixed cast, but everybody has a type. And I go in and rip. I mean, but at the same time, they literally come in, everybody's sitting there, they go, Tone, do you have like 10 minutes? Because, we're running like a little behind. But they didn't say nothing to nobody else. And I was like, oh, shit. And you feel weird because I know I'm being singled out, but also people been there for 20, 30 minutes already. I just got there and they're like, Tony, you good? Okay, we'll get you in as soon as possible. But I'm like, I don't want to be this nigga. So, we joke. We're like, oh, Tone. Oh, you get, I was like, nigga, whatever. I'm not. Nigga, whatever. And then, but I have a crazy audition. I'm talking about they laughing their ass off. I changed some lines and shit. And then I leave my stuff in the little cattle room, you know what I mean, in the little waiting area. And I go grab my phone and my keys, my sunglasses and everything. And I'm leaving. I go, all right, fellas, everybody can go home. I definitely just booked this bitch. And we all laugh because it's silly. And
I'm serious as hell.
2 days later, I booked that bitch, and they was like, I get calls from nigga, why would you say that? Because I was like, nigga, I was being sarcastic. We all know I was being sarcastic.
Hey,
bro, I feel like trash, man. I feel like trash.
You guys speaking into existence, bro.
Hey, man, y'all can go home, man. Y'all know I just brought this home. Y'all heard him.
You heard. Hey, I remember. I got a story like that. I remember Affion Crockett had a TV show called In the Flow with Affion Crockett.
Yep.
And they was doing auditions for it, and I had made it to like the callbacks. It was like the callbacks.